Shalom guys, welcome back to another episode here. Just have your ministry with Casa de Israel. Thank you for being there. So, today we're going to continue with the weekly Torah portions. We are in Torah portion Vayishlach, towards the end of the book of Bereshit, Genesis. And we are in the middle of the story of Jacob. And it's near conclusion when it comes to his journey. From obtaining the birthright all the way to his reconciliation with his brother. And so today we're going to look at it through the pathway and the structure that we've been using with our youth and our community. And we're going to then analyze it with that mindset and see what can we take away from this narrative and this story of one of the fathers of our faith, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Okay, so let's get to it. This week's Torah portion, like I said, is Vayishlach. You find it in Genesis 32, verse 3 to Genesis 36, verse 43. The Torah, the prophet's portion, is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1 through 21. And the Obrei Chadashah, New Testament portion, is Hebrews 11, 11 through 20. Our Torah portion this week contains the story of how Jacob wrestled with an angel, or a messenger of the Lord, just before encountered his estranged brother Esau. During the grappling session, recall the meaning of Jacob's name. The messenger, or the man, injured Jacob's thigh, but Jacob refused to release his hold until he received the blessing. The Lord then asked him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Yaakov." And the angel then replied, Your name shall no longer be Yaakov, heel holder or supplanter of Esau, but Israel, contender with God. For as a prince, Azar, you have contended Zerita with God and with men, and have prevailed. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now." Logos, and read it directly, right? It says, verse 5, "I have oxen and donkeys and flocks and male and female servants. I have sent to tell my lord that I may find favor in your sight." The messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and furthermore, he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people who were with him, and the flocks and herds and the camels into 2 companies. For he said, "If Esau comes to the one company and attacks it, then the company which I left will escape." Jacob said, "Oh my God, O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, O Lord, who said to me, 'Return to your country and to your relatives,' I'll prosper you. I'm unworthy of all the loving kindness and of all the faithfulness which you have shown your servant. For with my staff only I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 companies. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he will come and attack me and the mothers with the children. For you said, I will surely prosper you, and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be numbered." So he spent the night there. Then he selected from what he had with him a present for his brother Esau. And so now he starts to enumerate what he has separated for his brother, and he sent it ahead. Now, this is interesting because Jacob is having a closing chapter moment right now, and he has to confront his brother after everything they have gone through together, how their journeys have parted, and how they have grown in their own ways. But in this situation, Jacob understands that the way they closed out the relationship was not in a peaceful way, and now he is prospered, outnumbered, and by his wives and children, and he does not want to expose them to this thing of his past that needs to be confronted. This chapter needs to be closed, and he is afraid that there's a possibility that his children and his wives will have to pay for this conflict that has been in the background for Esau and Jacob. And so he prays to the Lord, and he says, remember, and have on account your servant that has not deserved your love and kindness. And so the structure in which Jacob approaches God is very interesting, because he humbles himself in recognition that all he has is from God. And that the blessings he's able to obtain, the children, the wives, the donkey, the people that he's with right now, is the fulfillment of God upon his life. And he says, please protect this. Please don't let my brother Esau destroy this, because you are the one that has given this to me. But in the process, he is bringing peace, right? He is trying to sow peace, okay, which is a ideal foundation that we have been practicing, a pathway, as we use Proverbs 8 as the foundation for this year. It is sow peace and reap righteousness. And so Jacob is in the process of doing that with Esau, okay? So let's get to it. So it says, after he sent them ahead, Jacob wrestles with the man, and he does not let go. He says, I will not let go until you bless me. And this is where there is a change of name, or the change of name has been pronounced first. But before that, we have to look at the encounter between the brothers. Then Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and 400 men with him. So he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the two maids. He put maids and their children in front, and Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. But he himself passed on ahead of them and bowed down to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. Then Esau ran to meet him and embraced him, fell on his neck, and kissed him. They wept. He lifted his eyes and saw the women and the children, and said, who are these with you? So he said, the children whom God has graciously given your servant. Then the maids came near with their children. They bowed down. Leah likewise came near with her children, and they bowed down. And afterward Joseph came near with Rachel, and they bowed down. And he said, what do you mean by all this company which I have met? And he said, to find favor in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have plenty, my brother. Let what you have be your own. And Jacob said, no, please. If now I have found favor in your sight, then take my present from my hand. For I see your face as one sees the face of God, and you have received me favorably. Please take my gift, which has been brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have plenty. Thus he urged him, and he took it. So this is interesting, and this is one of my favorite parts of this portion, right? In which Jacob, after he goes through this process of fear or uncertainty of how his brother will react, and he goes into this preparation mode in which he first goes to God and says, hey, Father, don't forget me. Please protect my children, protect what I have, protect the lives that are under me, that you have given me as I confront my brother. But in the process, in the middle of the story, Jacob has to fight and has to contend with this situation. And the narrative brings out the narrative of a messenger or a man, and Jacob wrestles with this man till daybreak, and he prevails. And it is a moment in which Jacob highlights his transition, his transformation, in which he left with nothing, has come back with everything and more, but he still has to fight. He still has to defend. He still has to stand firm. And when he prevails with God and with men, then when he confronts his biggest challenge, which is bringing peace to his brother, he is reaping righteousness. He is reaping peace with his brother. And now he can move forward into the next journey that he has. And so I find that beautiful, because it is essential to what we've been speaking in our congregation with the youth, and I think it's ideal. Now, let's get to the Haftarah, because it's interesting, right? There's two different portions that we're going to read right now, and then we're going to close it out, okay? So, it says, the vision of Obadiah. Obadiah chapter 1 says, thus says the Lord God concerning Edom, we have heard a report from the Lord, and an envoy has been sent among the nations, saying, arise and let us go against her for battle. Behold, I will make you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. The arrogance of your heart has deceived you. You have lived in clefts of the rock, in the loftiness of your dwelling place. Who say in your heart, who will bring me down to the earth? Though you build high like the eagles, though you set your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. If thieves comes to you, if robbers by night, oh how you will be ruined. Will they not steal only until they have had enough? If grape gatherers came to you, will they not leave some gleanings? Oh, how Esau will be ransacked, and his hidden treasures searched out. All the men allied with you will send you forth to the border, and the men at peace with you will deceive you and overpower you. They who eat your bread will set an ambush for you. There is no understanding in him. Will I not on that day, declares the Lord, destroy wise men from Edom and understanding from the mountain of Esau? Then your mighty men will be dismayed, O Teman, so that everyone may be cut off from the mountain of Esau by slaughter. Because of violence your brother Jacob, you will be covered with shame, and you will be cut off forever. On that day you stood aloof. On that day the strangers carried off his wealth, and foreigners entered his gates, and cast lots for Jerusalem. You too were as one of them. Do not gloat over your brother's day, the day of his misfortune, and do not rejoice over the sons of Judah in the day of their destruction. Yes, do not boast in the day of their distress, and do not enter the gates of my people. In the day of their distress, yes, you do not gloat over their calamity. In the day of their disaster, and do not loot their wealth. In the day of their disaster, do not stand at the fork of the road to cut down their fugitives, and do not imprison their survivors in the day of their distress. For the day of the Lord draws near on all the nations, as you have done, And it will be done to you. Your dwellings will return to your own head, because just as you drank on my holy mountain, all nations will drink continually, and they will drink and swallow, and become as if they had never existed. But on the mountain of Zion there will be those who escape, and it will be holy. And those of Jacob will possess their possession. Then the house of Jacob will be fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. But the house of Esau will be as a stubble, and they will set them on fire and consume them, so that there will be no survivor of the house of Esau. For the Lord has spoken. And those of the Negev will possess the mountain of Esau, and those of the Shephelah, the Philistine plain, also possess the territory of Ephraim, territory of Samaria, and Benjamin will possess Gilead. And the exiles of his host, the sons of Israel, who are among the Canaanites as far as Serepha, and the exiles of Jerusalem who are in Shepharat, will possess the cities of the Negev. The deliveries will ascend Mount Zion to judge Mount of Esau, and the kingdom will be the Lord's. This is interesting because you will say, Alex, what does this have to do with anything you have been talking about? Well, the foundation of Torah portion Vayishlach is the reconciliation of Israel with Esau. And the reconciliation of Jacob with Esau is the firstborn bringing peace or sowing peace with that of the nations. Or in this case, Esau. Even though Esau is part of the promise, even though Esau is part of the sons of Isaac, Esau has decided to live as one of the nations. Esau has decided to live as his own man, building his own things, right? And what hurt Esau the most was that he couldn't live off of the blessing of God and still do his own will. And Jacob now has had the privilege to be under God's covering, be under God's protection, and now he is living in God's blessing and the responsibility and authority of the promise. Esau now has lived and survived. He has grown. He has prospered, but away from the Lord. And so when Jacob comes and brings peace to Esau, and Esau receives it, Jacob says, I see the Lord's face when I see you. Why? Because in you accepting my peace and being peaceful with me, you are fulfilling the promises of God. Because I have been prospered, I have been protected, and I can reconcile not only with my brother, but with my past that I have been battling, because I have left in doubt and uncertainty. And now I can close a full chapter and move on with the promise. But when it comes to Esau, in the book of Obadiah, we see that the essence, the spirit of Esau lives on. And the spirit of Esau lives for himself. And so the message of Obadiah against Edom is one that is as of descendants of Esau. Pride brings downfall. Jacob and Esau's conflict, now you can mirror it to the nations. The Lord will deliver Zion. And he says, and the kingdoms will be the Lord's. So the Lord is saying, just as Jacob prevailed with God, so will Israel and the children of God prevail with those that think like Esau, that are ignorant to the promises of God, to the Spirit and the Word of God. Okay? Now, let's do the final portion. The Haftarah. Matthew 26. Alright, let's get to it. It says, then Jesus, Yeshua, came to them to a place called Gethsemane and said to his disciples, sit here while I go over there and pray. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee and began to grieve and distress, and he took with him Peter and the two sons of I read that twice. Then he said to them, my soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch with me. And he went a little beyond them and fell on his face and prayed, saying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. And he came to his disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, so you men could not keep watch with me for 1 hour. Keep watching and praying, that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again a second time and prayed, saying, my Father, if this cannot pass away unless I drink it, your will be done. And so, what do I conclude with this? Matthew 26, verses 36 through 46. Just like Jacob had to wrestle with his destiny, which was the confrontation with his brother, Yeshua wrestled in prayer. And he said, not my will be done, but your will be done. Yeshua becomes a greater Jacob because he has a struggle that brings the salvation of humanity. In the story of Jacob, his struggle and his prevalence brings the salvation of his family and the promise. His sowing of peace brings forth the righteousness of the descendants of Abraham, those that bless many nations. While the disciples sleep, the Son obeys. His surrender leads to redemption. And so, to close out, the core spiritual theme that we've been walking through is a transformation that produces peace. Peace produces reconciliation, and reconciliation produces blessing. Jacob moves from fear to faith, from striving to surrender, from grasping to blessing, from running to returning, from Jacob to Israel. And the Proverbs 8 pathway that we've been building and standing on since is seeking counsel, finding wisdom, gaining understanding, which then will make us walk in peace and become holy. Jacob seeks God, receives wisdom, wrestles for blessing, and walks in peace. And in the process, he becomes Israel, the holy name. So, in summary, he sows peace, reaps righteousness, and becomes holy. How? Well, Jacob sows peace with Esau, reaps reconciliation, and becomes Israel. Seek counsel. Seek counsel. Find wisdom. Gain understanding. Walk in peace. Be holy. Sow peace. Be righteous. That's the pathway. Yeshua, Jacob, and in the middle of the situation is Esau. Jacob saves the promise. Yeshua brings it forth. And we have the choice. Are we going to be Esau? Prosperous, powerful, lacking understanding? Or are we going to be Jacob or Yeshua? Those that seek God, receive wisdom, wrestle blessings or for blessings, walk in peace, and become holy. What's your choice? That's all I have for this week. Have a great week. Shavua Tov and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.